They don't write cookbooks, they don't go viral on social media, but Amish elders quietly know more about food than most modern kitchens ever will, and their simple, strange, and surprisingly smart food hacks, they actually work. Here are 35 real food tricks passed down by Amish elders, things you'll wish you learned years ago. Let's begin. Bread in a crock means fresh for days. Instead of plastic, the Amish store fresh bread in a thick ceramic crock with a cloth cover. It keeps it soft and mold-free longer, without freezing. Charcoal in the root cellar is another trick. A small pan of charcoal absorbs moisture and odors. Amish elders swear it keeps potatoes and onions from sprouting or going soft. Hanging cheese in cloth is a time-honored method. They wrap cheese in breathable cloth, hang it near cool airflow and let it age without refrigeration. It hardens naturally and lasts months. Adding vinegar to canned greens, just a splash before canning, improves the shelf life and flavor of greens like spinach and kale. Dusting eggs with wood ash is another old-school move. Unwashed farm eggs get rolled in sifted wood ash and stored in baskets. This keeps them fresh without refrigeration for months. Homemade buttermilk starter is a staple. They save a little buttermilk after each batch and use it to start the next. No store-bought cultures needed. It just keeps going. Storing apples with potatoes is a clever trick. Placing a few apples in your potato bin slows sprouting. It works because apples release ethylene gas. Root cellar rotation by season is also key. They rotate food based on the season: apples in the fall, carrots in winter, greens in spring. Nothing overstays its welcome. Cornmeal and cloth make for natural pest control. Grains like cornmeal are stored in tightly wrapped cloth bags, no plastic, to discourage bugs and moisture. Reusing pickle brine is common sense here. Old brine is reused for quick pickling leftover vegetables. No heating, no waste. Hanging garlic and onions is the way to go. Instead of bins, garlic and onions are braided and hung from ceiling beams in a dry shed. Keeps them fresh and airy. Finally, salting greens for storage. They layer greens like cabbage with salt in crocks, an ancient preservation method that's still in daily use. Using grape leaves in pickling is a neat trick. Adding grape leaves keeps pickles crunchy. The tannins slow down softening during long storage. Cooling milk with spring water is another smart move. Instead of refrigeration, milk jugs are placed in buckets of cold spring water, no ice needed. Canning meat with lard is pretty clever too. Cooked meat is packed in jars and covered with lard or tallow, which creates an oxygen-proof seal. Apple cider vinegar is kind of a cure-all. They use it in canning, cleaning, for stomach aches, sore throats, and even as a hair rinse, always homemade. Clay pots for cool storage are a staple. Clay crocks are used for butter, yogurt, and cheese. When slightly damp, they stay surprisingly cool even in warm weather. Dried corn as insulation is another one. Dried corn kernels are packed around jars and crates for cushioning and insulation. Beeswax wrapped cheese is a classic. Cheese wheels are dipped in melted beeswax, which hardens into a shell that keeps mold and moisture out. Smoking meats in small batches is a weekly tradition. Instead of a freezer, they lightly smoke meats and eat them over the course of the week. It adds both flavor and preservation. Keeping ice in sawdust is old school, but it works. Large blocks of ice are stored in sawdust in insulated ice houses and last months, even through summer. Pickled eggs stored in stoneware is another trick. Instead of jars, pickled eggs are kept in dark stoneware crocks, keeping them cooler and safer longer. Fermenting in open air is a trusted method. They ferment sauerkraut and pickles in open crocks with weighted lids, trusting the environment instead of sealing everything airtight. And cleaning food with baking soda. Produce is scrubbed with dry baking soda, no soap or chemicals. It removes dirt and bacteria without harming the food. Alright, let's dive into some fascinating food preservation techniques. First up, making fruit leather without an oven. Sliced fruit is mashed and then dried on a clean cloth or wax paper in a screened wooden box, which is left in the sun. It's a pretty neat trick. Next, we have egg testing using cold water. They drop the eggs in water, and if they float, well, they're bad. But if they lie flat, they're good. No guesswork needed there. Moving on to butter storage, butter is packed in salt water. It's submerged in brine in glass jars, which keeps it soft but safe from mold and spoilage. Now let's talk about growing herbs year-round indoors. They grow thyme, mint, basil, and dill in clay pots on sun-facing windowsills even through winter. It's like having a little garden inside. As for bacon grease, nothing goes to waste. Bacon fat is saved in jars and reused to flavor beans, eggs, potatoes. pretty much everything. Then we have drying beans on screens. Harvested beans are spread out on mesh screens to dry in the sun, and the airflow helps prevent mold. Tomato powder is next. Leftover tomato skins and scraps are dehydrated, ground into powder, and stored for flavoring soups and sauces. Making natural pectin comes after that. They boil green apples or citrus peels to extract natural pectin for jellies. No store-bought pouches needed. For cabbage storage, whole cabbages are hung by their stalks in the root cellar instead of stacked. This keeps them drier and lasting longer. And keeping jars away from sunlight is crucial. No jars are ever stored near windows because the Amish no light degrades nutrients and causes spoilage. Finally, pantry construction. Many pantries are lined with natural stone, not drywall. It stays cooler year-round and reduces mold growth. You know, most of these food hacks might seem a bit odd in our fast-paced, tech-heavy world. But they work, and that's because they've been tested for hundreds of years. The Amish don't just preserve food, they preserve wisdom, and maybe, just maybe, in times like these that's exactly what we need.